how do I best get infrared light and what benefits does it have?
There are some really great benefits to infrared. One, of course, is that it warms the body. It's going to improve cardiovascular health. It's going to reduce inflammatory cascade, and it will actually increase the ability of the body to detoxify and eliminate toxins. Infrared's wavelength, because of the penetration into the body and through the cell surfaces, it actually begins to warm your body up and to initiate activity of the cells and healing of the cells from the inside out. We have a lot of concern, especially with the older versions of infrared, with electromagnetic field, like EMFs being emitted from them. We have to be careful with the EMFs and with the infrared, because sometimes we're in there, we're getting all of this great infrared exposure, but we're exposing ourselves simultaneously to EMF, which is then initiating cell damage.
Infrared saunas, over or underrated?
That's a really good question. Thank you for putting over or under. Am I going to say underrated? Underrated. Let's go for underrated.
Okay, this is
yes.
the Be Well Now podcast. I'm here to stump Dr. Ron Dummar with all the questions.
You almost did.
I'm Nick. I'm a curious patient. I actually enjoy saunas, as many out there do. Hey, we want to know what's going on with infrared. Is it hype? Is it good for me? Do I want infrared in my sauna? Can I get infrared somewhere else? And this is something you feel real passionate about.
Yeah, well, there are some really great benefits to infrared. One, of course, is that it warms the body. I think that there's a lot to infrared that we haven't quite utilized. So infrared saunas themselves, infrared apart from saunas or infrared as a sauna can actually be a much more efficient way of heating the body and activating mitochondrial function, which is in the cells itself, and actually initiating tissue repair and tissue healing.
Well, we hear so much about cold plunges and saunas and, heat and cold, and now infrared, right? We get that the red light is a therapeutic. You're Dr. Ron Dummar. This is the Be Well Now podcast. I'm a curious patient and a co-host of the Be Well Now podcast. Why should somebody listen to you? What makes you qualified to talk about infrared or health in general?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. I'm really excited to be here with you, Nick, as well. And I have been studying Chinese medicine and chiropractic medicine here, and internal medicine as well, for almost 20 years now. And this has been a really important topic, I think, especially recently. Infrared has really jumped on the scene as almost like a biohacking tool to improve overall performance and health measures. So it's going to improve cardiovascular health. It's going to reduce inflammatory cascade happening or occurring in the body. And it will actually increase the ability of the body to detoxify and eliminate toxins. So if we can do things like that by simply exposing ourselves to light, why would we not?
Why would we not? And why would you not subscribe to the podcast if you're watching us on YouTube? The video idea, the podcast idea, which I know some folks listen to the podcast as well, it came from a comment. And I sent it to you and we said, let's do a podcast about this. So this is a conversation. So please support the channel. It's free. Just subscribe and we'll continue to rock and roll with great topics like this. So how do I best get infrared light and what benefits does it have?
Well, ideally, the sun has been delivering infrared wavelength light for us since it started. So long before I was born, the sun has been delivering infrared wavelengths for us. And these wavelengths actually penetrate through the body, penetrate through the skin. There's a number of wavelengths of light that bounce off of the skin as well, so reflect off of the skin. And it has to be certain frequencies, certain wavelengths that will penetrate deeper. And so just like that, when you look at the infrared, there's certain wavelengths of infrared. So you can have near infrared is what they call it, or mid infrared and far infrared. And near infrared actually penetrates the deepest. Mid infrared, medium range, and then far infrared is the most shallow of the delivery. So if you have a wavelength or a frequency penetrating into your body, it's going to begin to heat up or generate activity within the body from inside out, not just from the external air or surface air around you. Oftentimes, let's say we go in our home and we light a fire, we're burning a wood burning stove or something. That heat is going to generate heat and warm us up from the outside in. Okay, Infrared's wavelength, because of the penetration into the body and through the cell surfaces, it actually begins to warm your body up and to initiate activity of the cells and healing of the cells from the inside out. Okay, so that's why infrared may be a little bit different than, say, something like a dry sauna or a steam sauna, or a wood burning stove type of dry sauna as well.
I want to talk about sauna. I want to talk about how long to sit in, what's safe, what the benefits are. But this actually came up because I've been going to a place that has an infrared sauna and a regular sauna.
Yeah.
And you had some thoughts about IR sauna.
Yes.
And I'm also wondering, because I also got one of these like Theraguns for my face when I had some sinus issues over the winter, and it has a little red light on there. And I'm like, is this just a red light? Like, so how do I know it's just red light versus infrared? There's a lot going on here. Feel free to take that and run where you'd like.
Well, so you're looking at the wavelengths and the number of microns, which is a measurement of those wavelengths. Near infrared, if it specifies, hey, this is near infrared, it's going to be somewhere around like 0.7 to 1.5 microns. Okay. Mid-range is going to be like 1.5 to 5.6 microns. And then you're going to have the far infrared, which is really like 5.6 or 6 microns to 1,000. Okay, and so that's more of a measurement of the length of the wave, right? Of the wave of light as it penetrates through or into the body. So your larger length is actually going to penetrate less deep into the body. But you have different things that can occur. Obviously, if you are using infrared and it's penetrating deep into your body, it's harder sometimes for us to detect internal things that are occurring. So we can heat up way more quickly. So we have to be more cautious using near infrared and use shorter duration as well, so we're not heating up so quickly internally. If we have cardiovascular concerns or issues, we may want to be really careful using near infrared light therapies. And so I would just, as a caution to people, say, recognizing when we use ultrasound, here's another maybe equation here, is that we use ultrasound with patients to penetrate a sound wave deep into the body to initiate a response or like an agitation to the muscle, to heat that muscle up, and even it will agitate it enough to break up scar tissue adhesions. And so we do a lot of work in our office to break these up and realign fibers of the muscles and tendons for patients. But the reason I'm saying that is because the sound wave is also, it's a wave, and it comes out as a frequency or a wavelength, and it penetrates based on where we put the wavelength deeper into the body or into the muscle. But as I instruct my staff, or as I'm using it myself, if I leave that ultrasound wand that's penetrating that sound wave in one place, it can actually burn the patient internally. And they won't feel it at first because it's burning from the inside out. So you have to be really careful using some of these because you don't want to overdo it.
So what do I do? How do I utilize infrared? Because you're telling me that it can, I don't know, stimulate cellular repair, boost collagen for skin rejuvenation, wound healing, provide
It's all
pain
about
relief.
Mitochondria. Yep.
So tell me something I can use out there if I'm not a scientist, because I don't quite understand it all. Give me
Yeah,
something
no,
I
that's
can
fine.
use
So-
and why I should, and how to find it.
Absolutely.
Give me something.
So one
Give
of
me
the
something,
best
doc.
places that I found with the ideal bulbs, I recommend these to my patients as well. It's a place called Sauna Space, and you can go online there to Sauna Space. I don't have any affiliation with them. I'm not making money on any referral or anything like that. But Sauna Space, they have put a lot of research into their bulbs and the frequency that it emits. And they've also put a lot of time and research, and this is one of the things I mentioned to you earlier as we were talking off air, Nick, is that we have a lot of concern, especially with the older versions of infrared, with electromagnetic field, like EMFs being emitted from them. And so we have to be careful with some of this with the EMFs and with the infrared, because sometimes we're in there, we're getting all of this great infrared exposure, but we're exposing ourselves simultaneously to EMF, which is then initiating cell damage and causing problems in the way our DNA is actually performing. So we need to make sure that we're using the highest, most sophisticated brands possible. And I would at least ask the question of the supplier, wherever you're getting it, what have you done to mitigate EMFs in your product? And if there's a blank stare, or if they haven't considered it, then the likelihood is you're going to get more EMFs than you would be getting benefit from the infrared. So I'd be very cautious with that product. And I'm telling you, in the research that I've done, this company, Saunas, the bulbs that they use for their infrared, they have a whole sauna system as well. They also have you can put next to your desk, they have a little desktop bulb that you can just put right next to your desk and have it shine on you as you're working. Nice. Yeah, it's so great. And the heat that comes from it, the warmth is so nice too. Penetrating, again, it penetrates internally and warms you up from the inside out.
Can you overdo it if you have the right bulb and you have the right IR system?
Yes, you can also overdo it. Again, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with any heat modality. You can overdo it. And certainly you want to be aware. I usually tell people start with like 10 to 15 minutes of infrared exposure. You can work your way up to, 15 to 30 minutes even. I would say the question is, what's the threshold? Like, what's the point of there's no more benefit here after this point, right? And I would say somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes.
In an IR sauna, because I noticed that the IR sauna, it was not as hot as the traditional sauna. The traditional sauna was like 195 degrees.
That's right. The dry saunas go up hot. They need to be hot.
Yeah, but the IR one felt like I could hang out there for a while, read a book. Like I was sweating, but it wasn't.
It's usually miserable. Like 100 to 100. The max would be like 150 degrees in an infrared sauna. You also have steam saunas. Okay, so steam saunas can be super beneficial for the lungs as far as the respiratory tract, respiratory system. Sometimes you go to spas and they'll put essential oils in it. Steam saunas even can be you in the shower in super hot water, right? That's a steam sauna. And you can we've talked about putting peppermint or eucalyptus and things like that in and around the floor of the shower to turn that into a steam sauna itself. But yes, you're not really garnering from that the benefit of infrared, but you are getting the benefit into the lungs of the warm steam that's going to help break up some of those mucousy membranes where a bacteria like to lodge and remain. So that can help you expectorate and get rid of any sort of lung issue or upper respiratory sinus issue, like you mentioned before. You were using the activator on that.
Expectorate, that's a line from Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
Gaston is especially good at expectorating. Like kids are in that play. People don't use that word very much, but it means what? To spit?
Yes, to eliminate. Yes, get that out of
big
there.
words. You like the words. Your head's always buried in research.
I just say what comes to my mind, so I'm sorry.
Right. No, you're good. So, infrared saunas have EMF. Don't ever use them. Is that the message?
Infrared saunas are fantastic. Infrared is fantastic, but I would ask any infrared sauna or any infrared device that you're going to use. You should ask whoever's supplying it, the people that are providing it. If it's a business location, ask them, hey, what has been done with this infrared sauna or with this infrared bulb that has been tested to reduce or minimize the EMF radiation from it. And if they don't know, or if they don't know, they can go and get and find out, and then they can tell you, and it's a reasonable explanation, then great, that's fine. But if they don't know and there's no explanation and they can't find anything, that's a problem. I wouldn't use that.
Okay. And you'd start for what, 15 to 20 minutes?
I would start at 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And we've mentioned this before. I am a big fan when you're doing sauna anytime to do contrast. I'm a big fan of that. When we do the cold plunge, again, it's cooling all the way around, right? You're submerged. And then we go back into the sauna. That contrast therapy, I'm a really big fan of that because it's expanding our cells and contracting our cells and expanding and contracting. And that expansion and contraction itself is like a detox right? So it's almost like, okay, we swell a little bit and then we squeeze that rag out. And those things that we're squeezing out are the toxins that we want to eliminate. And then we swell it up again. It's like, oh, everything can move freely. And then we contract and we can eliminate. So it initiates detoxification and moves more easily those toxins to the lymphatic system where it can be more readily eliminated from the body or expectorated if needed.
There you go. There you go. All right. So different types of infrared saunas out there. I mean, it sounds like we want to start 10 minutes in the sauna and then how often would you do those sauna sessions?
I would start with 10 minutes. And then if you can work up to 15 minutes, 20, eventually get up to 30 minutes. I don't know that there's really any need to go longer than 30 minutes in an infrared sauna session or even in an infrared session. I don't see any need to go longer than 30 minutes. I ideally think somewhere around 20 minutes is right on point. And then you can alternate that again with, if you want to, with a cold plunge and then go back to the infrared and do another 20 minutes and then go, and then you're good. And then you just go. So
if you sandwich
infrared, then cold and infrared.
So if you sandwich cold in between two sauna sessions, that's enough contrast?
Yeah.
I've been playing with it lately. There's a cold plunge there and I'm like, a lot of people seem to go back and forth and then they end on cold. And I
would never end on cold.
But all the experts online say to end on cold.
I know. And then they want your body to heat itself back up. And, sure. Okay. I see that. And you want to spend time outside in the winter. That's good. And I do that. That's important. And your body can be able to regulate its own temperature. But I think that it's best to, especially for your health overall, to be as balanced as possible. As a Chinese medicine doctor, one of the things that we really focus on is ultimately achieving this balance, this yin yang. And yeah, there's always a little cold and hot, and there's always a little hot and cold. But what we're really trying to do is bring our body into a balanced state. Okay. And yeah, it is a challenge to submerge yourself in a very uncomfortable, very cold water. And it's a challenge sometimes to be in a fairly hot room also. Those are both challenges for the body. But what we need to do is when we're finished with that contrast and that challenge, the initial challenge, and our body remaining calm and stabilizing our blood pressure as we've dropped into that cold water and allowing ourselves to just breathe, that itself, that does all that you need to do. You don't have to stay cold and then hope as you're shivering that your body's going to warm itself up like it's some sort of great big challenge. Now, if it's the middle of the summer and you decide to finish on cold and then you go out and you're just hanging out in the sun, well, yeah, you're going to have infrared from the sun and you're going to have sun exposure and have frequency and wavelengths of all sorts. So that's literally going to heat you back up. That's fine. But that's not exactly the same as what I'm talking about, which is usually they'll get into the cold plunge, they'll leave it right there, and then they'll leave. And usually people are doing that because they're inflamed. Their diet is poor, they're metabolically unhealthy, and they feel better when they're in ice, right? They feel better when they have cold exposure because it zaps that inflammation and it suppresses temporarily the immune response that is out there trying to heal them. Well, in Chinese medicine, we promote healing. We're not trying to suppress healing. And so I'm not here trying to say, hey, you should just do this because it'll make you feel better and your joints and all the inflammation will be suppressed. What we're trying to do is be at the ideal level of circulation, of blood flow, of harmony in the body and still feel well, right? We want to feel well and we want to have circulation and blood flow to all of our tendons, our ligaments, our joints. When we have reduced circulation and blood flow to our tendons and our ligaments, we're more prone to injury. So if I finish with a cold and then I go out and I'm active just like I always would, especially if I go out and I start working out or something after that.
Because some people swear by cold before workouts. I hear Joe Rogan
talking about it. Then you're
so
much more prone to injury. So much more prone to injury if you do that. But if you did cold, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing cold. You just need to make sure that you've warmed your body up before you get into activity or intensity. Okay. And that's really out of prudence, I would say, and wanting to reduce your risk of injury. If you look at an athlete, like what athlete do you see that goes out there and has zero prep for their sport? No, we would call that cold. Oh, you're cold. We got to get you warmed up. Well, once you get warmed up, you have to either play a few rounds or you have to do some sort of jogging or high knees, or, you know what I mean? You're doing something in your body. And what you're doing with the activity is actually increasing the blood flow. You're increasing the hydration. You're increasing the circulation. You're increasing all of these beneficial nutrients to be moving throughout your body, not suppressing it. When you ice, you're suppressing the movement and the activity. I mean, literally, what does ice do? It slows everything down. It tightens everything up. Like if you've ever lived in a cold place, I remember this because I see it every year, but those power lines in the summer, they drop down. They kind of sag. In the winter, they're up and they're straight and they're tight. There's a reason for that. It's because in the cold, things are taut. Molecules move closer together. It would feel almost as your tendons were more tight. Your ligaments were more secure, right? And so any activity that you enter into after that, if we took that wire and we pull on it quickly, boom, snap. Okay, so icing is great. Infrared saunas are great, but you want to make sure if you're going to use this as a pre-workout, you should be certain to make sure that you've warmed your body up. And what better way to warm the body up than from inside out using infrared? And
that's a different approach than a traditional sauna. What do you recommend in terms of before a workout or after a workout for IR or sauna? Is there a better time, or would it be an off day, or does it help inflammation? Why would I do it on a workout day?
Well, it does help with inflammation. So this is an interesting thing. That's an interesting question as well, because working out is inflammatory, right? Infrared is actually is somewhat inflammatory as well. It initiates a term we call photobiomodulation. Okay, now that's just a big word. I said that big word because Nick needed me to say one more big word on this podcast.
So I knew you were talking about.
And so photobiomodulation, it's also a tongue twister. Say it 5 times fast, right? So photobiomodulation, what it will do, what it essentially suggests is that the light is entering the cell, the biology of the individual. It's entering into the cell. It's penetrating deep into where our mitochondria function and work. So mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It produces ATP. And so it allows for the production of ATP at greater rates. So we're able to produce more energy. And if we have more energy for the cell, then we can replicate our DNA, we can detoxify, we can clean up the cell a lot better as well. And so that ultimately is why we want to be utilizing infrared, is to initiate from the the core of our DNA, better activity and circulation and blood flow ultimately, right? And energy production of the cell. And so again, if we're icing and then we jump into activity after ice, what's going to happen is we have slower activity of the cells, not increased activity of cellular activity.
What I asked was when I should do this related to workouts.
Right, yes. So when you should do this is you should do it when you want to, ultimately.
Listen to the body?
Yeah, you need to do a warm-up of some sort before your workout as it is. You need to gradually move into your workout. If you choose to do this, I think it's a great way to start a workout, to do infrared. I would do a really short session, no more than 10 minutes, honestly. I think if you're just like, hey, I'm going to do this as a pre-workout, boom, do 10-minute infrared and then jump into your workout. It's going to activate your cells, your mitochondria. It's going to help with collagen and tissue repair, protein synthesis. You're going to be setting yourself up for better tissue remodeling and muscle repair. You'll be in really good shape if you do it, but just short duration before.
And then on an off day, it could just be a recovery thing?
On an off day, that's when you can go long.
I think it's so
Or you can do contrast. Especially if you're doing it as a recovery, that's when I would do the contrast.
Because I've been playing around with sauna and cold plunge, and what I'm realizing now is everyone has these things they say online, and then there's me trusting my own body, me becoming my own guru, and it's not satisfactory to the ears because I want someone to tell me exactly what to do. Just Give me a standard operating procedure, put it right in my veins, tell me what to do, I follow a plan very well. Health feels very tailored, and it's not like that. And we want it to be like that, but often I just have to like trust how I'm feeling. And I'm learning to do that as I get a little older, is like just what works for me. Only I can know that.
Yeah.
You know, even though I want you to tell me exactly what to do, when to do it, because there's all this data out there, and do it for this many minutes. And I guess I do want to ask before we end here, there's different kinds of IR saunas. Can we just go over those real quick, and any recommendations you have for someone who's listening? Because I want to think of what could they use at home? What information at home could they get that would help
There are a variety of different infrared saunas. You can get a full traditional style wood paneled infrared sauna. Like you mentioned, you've been going to at another place. You can get a little a homemade infrared sauna with plastic PVC, and they'll use light therapy and everything that way. And sometimes they'll use a variety of different light frequencies, like blue light and all of these different bulbs. Infrared's really the one we're focusing on, but they have little single individual units as well that you can get and literally just wrap like a blanket. They have infrared blankets. You can kind of wrap that around you as well. So all of those are really options. They're super convenient. I think the more like tent-like ones, again, Sauna Space, if you go there, they have some really great options. They have full built-out ones that you can build into your home or into a gym. And then they also have the little tent, homemade portable ones that can be used. And again, remember those bulbs. You want to make sure there's a reduced or something done to eliminate or reduce the EMF exposure production by the bulbs, and have a great day.
So would you recommend putting bulbs like on your bedside table and your like by your bed before you're reading at night? Is that a good option?
Yeah, if you're reading, it's going to be a red color light anyway. I think it's better to actually put it if you're working like by your workstation.
Got it.
When you're more active, and you could do it for a little bit at night. The chances are you might get too much because you'll fall asleep and it'll still be shining on you. So I would probably do it when you're alert and awake.
Okay. Well, I'm going to check out Sauna Space because you've recommended them before, so I want to check them out.
Sounds great.
I'm always looking for just something. Just give me something to try.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
In this consumer world, give me an IR solution that with my card can lead me to the promised land. No, I just want something that at home can make a difference.
Yeah, and infrared really can. It's something that can really help with your energy, with brain fog. It can help with tissue repairing. It can help in burn and wound repair. So infrared's a really powerful tool. It can be utilized in so many ways. So we might as well take advantage of it and try to replicate the greatest healer of all, Mr. Sun.
Ooh. The sun's a beautiful thing. Or is it? Maybe that's for another podcast.
Yeah, that sounds like another podcast. That sounds like we just teased it out, didn't we?
Should you be afraid of the sun? All right, everyone. Be well now.
Namaste.